Hi, my name is Timothy Munson. In 2007, I had been a drug addict for 7, 8 years. And my wife had left me, took my baby, and I was really struggling. Prior to this, I'd had some encounters and I knew Jesus was the answer. I just didn't know how it worked. So I started looking for churches and calling churches. One day, I called a church called Grace Life. And I got on the phone with a man by the name of Pastor Bernie Wing. And I could tell shortly after talking to him that this man knew Jesus, had a relationship. His voice really pierced my heart. He told me about this meeting called The Most Excellent Way. Now, I was out of town for a couple weeks and I came home and I looked at my fridge, and in the very middle of my fridge was a magnet with The Most Excellent Way dates and times and where they had it. And at the time, I didn't realize how big of a deal that was. But later, God showed me that He was making sure I wouldn't forget. So I went to attend my first meeting, and I walked upstairs to where they were having the meeting, and I seen some people I used to work with, and I didn't feel comfortable, so I exited the building. As I'm about to get to my vehicle, I see a guy call me over, and he waved me over, so I went over and talked to him. He introduced himself. His name was Rick Adams. And he said, why don't you come on in here? And Rick had long hair, and he was the kind of a person I would hang. He made me feel very welcomed. And I came up there and found out that him and his wife, Joyce, were leading this meeting, and they were sharing some stuff. And then we split up into the men and the women. And the person I used to work with shared a story that was very powerful about their lives, a testimony, and it really touched my heart. And it showed me that, there's something different about this walking with God. It's a complete opposite of what I thought it would be. Then over the course of the next many years, lots of conversations with Rick and Joyce, my life was transformed, and I gave my life fully to Jesus. But I do believe that it was through this meeting and really through Joyce that I began to learn the importance of identity, the importance of knowing that I'm a son, that Jesus came to redeem my soul, and that I no longer had to have the identity of a drug addict. I no longer had to have an identity as an orphan. I no longer had to have the identity as a lost soul, but that I had a Father that wanted to direct and guide me. And I'm so thankful that Most Excellent Way was there. I'm so thankful that Grace Life allowed this to be at their church, and the countless number of lives that it touched. I was a bit saddened that Joyce didn't live long enough where I could celebrate some of the recovery I've had. This past December, I celebrated 11 years completely and absolutely free of meth and marijuana and all drugs. And I've been walking deeper and closer to the Father each and every year after that. It's been magnificent and such a blessing to me. And I'm just so grateful that Most Excellent Way is still going on. I can't imagine the number of lives that have been touched by it, but I do believe it is really touching the city of Marshall and Lyon County and transforming it into a place where revival will tarry.